Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, I should say, and welcome to round number 2 of the ARL GT3 trophy. It's season 10 for the GT3 trophy here for Apex Racing League, and we are at the Glen for this round. It's, of course, the second round of the championship. Daytona is done and ticked off in the books, and of course we now move on to this incredible circuit around the layout of Watkins Glen. My name is Adam Reed. It will not be Nathan Richards alongside me. In fact, it will be in production. It will be Jim Cunningham who will be brilliant production stuff, and of course will be joining me on the mic a couple of times just to kind of fill in as we are currently co-commentators. So he will just be popping in and out to kind of cover the action during this race. Of course, there was some really brilliant action at Daytona, and there was some actual stuff. You know, so many close races, so many close battles. Of course, lap cars also getting in the way, and it ended with 5 different photo finishes from that race. If you want to go back and have a look at that, of course, you're more than welcome to. But for here at Watkins Glen, the temperatures are looking pretty good. There is a potential chance of rain in the air. There's a bit of gust of wind which could play a part in the driving of this race. As currently sits above us at Watkins Glen, and I myself, I'm very much looking forward to getting into this qualifying session. It's already underway, but for now, there'll be so many drivers looking to being able to potentially get themselves into a really positive position. I've got a couple of standings here from what I have. It's Albert from who won last time out in the pro category class. Remember, there are 3 different classes. Hungary went on to win with 140 points to his name. Anders Meyer, there it is, with 126 points, was Yannick Steinhoff, who the German driver who put himself into third. Then it was Haulas Jotaitis, the Lithuanian driver, who of course put in a from last round. So he's hoping to go 2 in a row, with Tim Kern in 5th place, Pierre Ubizu with Rupe Kokipa, and Matt Loveridge in his Mercedes. Then it was Christophe Herbinot, the Belgian driver, ahead of the 2 Frenchmen of Roman Bocler and Kayla May, with Danny Neo and Eric Roseth, Eros Giannani putting some great results in here. But of course, 3 DNFs being for Aiden Young, Igor Wazowski, and of course, unfortunately, no appearance here from Leon Mishka. Unfortunately for him, Sergio Bajo there in P3 was also a DNF. So that is your pro category. Into the pro-ams, and it's the German of Malik Paluch who was victorious in this one. He leaves 8 points over Alexei Bari, the Ukrainian, who will be very much looking to try and to take that championship lead, but it'll be a very, very tough one. Mielda just 2 points behind him. Stefan Davids, the Frenchman, will be in a very good run here in his Acura with Michael Eberstein in his BMW. Dominic Engel just behind him. The three Germans of Eberstein, Engel, and Jan Volmers rounds out the top 7 with Marcus Fox in behind and Karl Winkler in his Porsche. Then rounding out that top 10 was Udot, the Russian driver. In the top 10, Sven Lotman will be in 11th, ahead of Ronald Grossman and Mikko Nurmi, the Finnish driver, with Thomas de Rutier, the Dutchman there, 34 points to his name. He's just ahead of Sami Heiskanen, and of course that will be rounded off with Florian Nofler, Paolo Denisenko, DNFs as well from Denisenko and Pendil in there. On towards our amber category is Jacopo Rampazzo, the Italian driver, bringing a stonking performance. So in the top 14 last time out. Lenny Kiefer, the Luxembourg driver, 10 points behind in his BMW. Let's see what he can do tonight with Christian Malcharek in a P in the standings. Ryan Palomino, the Colombian driver, in there in 4th. He will be in his Acura ahead of Daniele Chialfi and Dustin Reicher, the 2 German drivers, in some really good performance for the Cold Ice Esports team. Purple. Jason Hodgson ahead of Alex Rogers with Glen Gondolares and Pierre Borges with Jan Schutler and Jamie Edwards there in top 12, and then Callum Beament and Sam Clark. And I believe DNF there for Arturo Chiarini, Tommaso Basaggio, Vidal and Thomas Kuhn. There are your 18 drivers in the AM category. So some really fantastic results here. But into qualifying, this is where stuff is going to start getting very serious when we go and end this one up. We're currently running on board here with one of our BMW drivers heading in towards the heel here at Watkins Glen. Qualifying is underway and it will be finishing in the next 5 minutes, so it will be crucial timing so far. We'll get those results in just a moment. I do have my live timing here on the screens, and let me tell you, it's looking pretty close. In fact, you know, less than a 1/10 of a second in the top 3 is BMW from Ford in the overall, and we do have one of our pro-ams in the top 3. So really great stuff overall. I see these drivers here really looking to work the circuit, work their race cars, enter the final bend here at the Watkins Glen. It is Eric Roseth who will be on pole position, but an improvement there by Christoph Herbino in the McLaren there. But now times are changing, and they're changing very fast. The track has gone up to a good amount of grip, but there's still a little bit more in the temperatures of these cars, and the performance is very much going to start to going up in these final few minutes. This is where you want to be. You want to be getting those laps in, and still the Norwegian of Eric Roseth ahead of Aidan Young for the WSR Esports team, both in the BMWs. So they are very much going to need to be the strongest car, because they've then got the pro driver of Anders Meyer in his number 120 BMW M4 GT4 for the Race Lab Esports team, currently in a very good spot. 2 purple sectors there for Danny Neo. In his down there 25th in his McLaren, so keep an eye there on the Spaniard. But this is really where we're going to be having a look at these times here. A bit of traffic there for Danny Neo as well. He's got his manufacturer teammate there. I wonder, it's one of our pro category class, so I wonder if that's going to be Igor Kos, potentially not. I think that might be Eros Giannani. Let's have a look at the timing screens and see if we can potentially see Giannani. It is, in fact, Eros Giannani, the Frenchman, just ahead of him, but Danny Neo is looking like he's on a strong competitive lap here, and will look to be potentially on maybe one of those front two rows, either maybe alongside Roseth or just behind, just in front of Kurt Keeper, the Finnish driver. We'll have to see what he does over the timing beam when he crosses the line. Where that going to take him to? It takes him to 8th place of 144.275, and it's only Eric Rosef who can put himself into the 143s, 143.974 for him. Aiden Young, of course, second place there, 144.006, so very, very close to being in that 43. I think that's really the time you're aiming for. And so far, Eric Rosef has managed to find a setup and a comfort and a rhythm in the car. He's put himself into a really, really good spot. 300ths of a second separate Rosef and Young as well. And that seems to be one of our cars stopped out of the circuit to return back to the pit lane. We now start to die down in this qualifying session. Well, I say die down. Well, the track evolution is absolutely ramping up here, as we don't have the timing on our screens this moment in time, but I can tell you we do have 2 minutes remaining to get your lap in, so you will have just about 2 minutes. Maybe not for this group, they all just have this two more laps. I think the others will be able to get 3 more in, so you're just being able to see if maybe you can get another one in. I think that's what they're going to be aiming for, but also they're going to be taking into consider tire life as well at the moment in time. Have they burnt too much of the tires, or are they in a good stage? But that's the thing they're going to really be keeping an eye out for. Again, less than 2 minutes on the clock now, 1.5 in fact. We're seeing both BMWs here of Eric Roseth and Aiden Young, who have been going like a 2 peas in a pod. Aiden Young has tapped the barrier there on the outside lane, and he's going to run to the line now. Yannick Steinhoff has now moved up to P4, and his Mercedes Impulse Racing by Team Tam livery, he's very much going to be on that second row, and I think that's going to be super crucial for him. Only 3 laps completed by Norbert Lichtner. He's gone into P6 for himself, so he'll be on the 3rd row of the grid. And what about our Corvette of Harold Asiotatus? He's down in P11. Our pole sitter from the first round at Daytona has very much not got any form of time on the board. Into the pits he is. I don't think he's going to be able to get another time. He'll start right outside the top 10 there. So really, really bad luck there from Harold Asiotatus. A lot shorter circuit compared to the Daytona road course. And we now look here at the Mercedes of Norbert Lichtner, who's trying to get 1 more lap in. 20 seconds left on the clock. I think there might be a couple more drivers who will just get a lap up. But remember, they only have 4 laps in the pocket they can complete over the course of the 32 laps. So that's why it's starting to get very, very manic in those last couple of moments. And you don't want to be burning everything up, but that's going to be qualifying down there on the clock. That will be our seemingly 8 cars on this grid. So absolutely superb stuff there. But we now move on into the 3 minutes warm up. Of course, Jim, you know this circuit. You love this circuit. Come on, there's going to be so much action around this place, and I think we're in for an absolute barnstormer of a race.
I have to agree with you. I do love this. I do love this track. I love to drive this place, but I think we've got 47 cars was my last count, I believe. 47 cars. In the beginning few laps of this race till it spreads out a little bit is going to be absolute chaos. It's going to be fun, but it's going to be chaos.
I think chaos is the right word for that, Jim. Of course, Jim Cunningham there. Just in our production booth for tonight, as he has been for last round as well. This is going to be the C format for today, and you may be thinking, what is the C format? we have 3 different types of formats. We have the A format, which is a 60-minute race. The fuel is capped at 60%. The winner will get 140 points, and the down all the way down to 60th. So that's what we were using for the Daytona road course format. Then we'll go to Watkins Glen here, and this time we're using the C format. So what is the C format? We will have one at 1 hour and 15 minutes race, where we'll have the fuel capacity at 50%, so half of your fuel capacity. So potentially maybe even juggling a 2-stop in that one. Similar points to the A format, but the winner will get 140 points. The points go all the way down 60. And let's talk about that B. Format, because this one is really interesting. This is what we're going to get coming up for the 3rd round of the championship at Sonoma. It is going to be 2 races. It's going to be a 25-minute race and then a 30-minute race. There will be no fuel capacity, so you can fuel it to how much you want. And then the winner will only get 70 points each race, and the point system will go down all the way down to 50th, not 60th. So that will probably be definitely reminded for our viewers for sure when we get back into the the Sonoma race, which is going to be happening this time next week. But we now just follow some of our cars around this circuit, so definitely one to keep an eye out for around this circuit. So the only difference really between format A and format C is the races, of course, the fuel capacity. So of course this one is going to allow less fuel and more time, so you're definitely looking at a 2-stopper compared to the 1-stop we saw at Daytona road course. We now see the checker flag fly for our warm-up, and of course I won't read any time because they don't matter too much at this moment in time, but we will go through the grid in just a bit. And here it is. Eric Roseth, a pro category car. He will start on pole position alongside Aiden Young, with Rupe Kerkeeper and Yannick Steinhoff. Anders Meyer in his BMW. He's going to look to potentially try and take the championship lead these stages ahead of Norbert Lietner, our winner from last time out. Sergio Bajo, the Spaniard, will be in 7th on the 4th row of the grid ahead of Eros Gianna. Igor Kost making his debuts this round. He missed out in Daytona, but he will be back, and he'll be lining up on the 5th row of the grid alongside Danny Neo, with Paradise Taters and Christoph Herbino in rounding out that top 12 on the 6th row of the grid. Then move further down where we find our first of the Pro-Am category cars. It is Malik Paluch, the German driver who won in the Pro-Am category, with Matt Loveridge alongside him. He's going to be in his McLaren when we find Florian Nofler ahead of Igor Wazowski. Of course, unfortunately, a poor running for Igor last time around. A DNF for him when we find Miko Nurmi, the Finnish driver, just ahead of Alex Rogers. He'll be the pole sitter for our AM category cars. Put it there in 18th. It's a massively impressive run with Pierre Ubizu, and in 20th we will find our Frenchman of Kayla May. Then we find 21st place is going to be Arturo Guiarini and Marcelo Caserta. Of course, Marcelo was not present at the opening round in Daytona, but the Italian driver will be here. Glen. He lines up 22nd on the 11th row of the grid. Then we find the 12th row of the grid, which will be Jamie Edwards in his McLaren ahead of Nikolai Mjelder in the Norwegian there in his BMW. How well will that go throughout the race? On to the 13th row of the grid. Manuel Piendel with Roman Bokler in P26, with Jan Vormers and Carl Winkler on the 14th row of the grid. Moving on to row 15, we find Michael Everstein and Ronald Grossman. Of course, you can see there down in his McLaren. And then we go to Artem Udod, 31st, followed by Thomas de Routier. They're going to be sharing the of the grid. Row 17, Sven Lotman is going to be alongside the Norwegian of Tom Vidal, and then on row, and then on the next row will be Dominic Engel, and then Jan Schutler coming up next. Row 19 will be an all Ukrainian of Alexei Bari and Pavlo Delisenko, and then we move on to row 20, which will be Glen Grondalaris, the Belgian driver, with Daniele Chialfi, the German, on that 20th row. Pierre Borges, and then Dustin Reicher will be on the next row, followed by Stefan David and Jason Hodgson, the American driver. How will he go on home soil down there in 44th place in the AM category? And Nova, followed by Lenny Kiefer, and then on the next row, and the final row, going to be row 24, Sami Heiskanen, Tommaso Baseggio. That will be the grid for round number 2 of the ARL GT3 trophy here at the Glen. The safety car lights will now turn off, and the Porsche Cayman will now dive its way in the pits. You can see there the pack of cars will now start to slow a little bit down, and it's going to be our 2 BMWs to lead the way. Of course, it seems to be a strong showing from the German manufacturer, but they've got an angry Ford and a Mercedes right behind. How will they go? It's going to be a 1 hour and 15-minute race around here at Watkins Glen. The safety car peels in. ARL GT3 trophy round 2 at Watkins Glen. We go green here at the Glen. Let's go racing, boys. Down in towards the first corner of the 90. It seems to be a pretty packed start here. Loads of cars in close contention. The McLaren is already half turn on that one. The corner is called the 90, but the McLaren decides to go and turn 90. Accident in the back there. There's someone backwards, and I think that's going to be a big old caution. 2 massive accidents as well. Cars blocking the middle of the road, and it's absolute chaos. I don't think usually this would be a caution, but unfortunately for us, so many drivers have been absolutely left on the side of the road. So much damage, multiple cars out. I can tell you, in fact, Haroldas Jotatas was involved in that. So was Matt Loveridge. So was Sami Heiskanen. I think Jan Volmers was also involved in that one as well as Roman Bokla. So big name there was Haroldas Jotatas, a pole sitter, went on to finish 4th at Daytona, but unfortunately he will not go any further than lap 1 here. Eric Roseth with a face cam as well. Brilliant from our guys over at Apex Racing TV to bring that face cam as well. And we see here Aiden Young, of course the American, on home soil as well, will just be hunting down his manufacturer teammate as well. But I wonder how this will go for them. In fact, they are 2 teammates, so Aiden Young and Eric Roseth will have to be very, very careful about what they do. Meanwhile, Steinhoff has gone up 1 ahead of Rufi Kukipa, but one driver who's had an absolute maneuver in these first couple of stages of this race is Marcelo Casterta, who is there in P12. They're up 10 places from his position, but he's actually not the biggest gainer. That goes to 26th place. Lenny Kiefer, the Luxembourg driver, and that is a superb run there, down there in 26th at this moment in time. We now see Ronald Grossman, and there is our Luxembourg driver. Oh, I think there's a couple of cars there side by side in towards that first corner, and it's very much chaotic, and now they're going to have to start getting into a little bit of a rhythm here around Watkins Glen. It's good to go side by side and get that a little bit of battle experience, but what you really need here is just some time to be able to relax here and get yourself into a rhythm, assess your options, assess what the strategy is, because you can go all out here and potentially go, I think maybe for a one shot, but it will require a big amount of fuel saving. Otherwise, you can just burn all the way through your tanks. I'm just being told there in my ears, not sure if that came across on the broadcast, but we're going to have a look at a couple of first lap incidents. Lenny, this is Lenny Kiefer, it seems like, down in the BMW. We're just getting a couple of replays. This was Lenny for Luxembourg driver. Has he gone into the back
no,
of
no, this
somebody
is before
during
the
the
start.
formation lap?
Oh, he did.
Down in towards, yeah, he tapped the back of the McLaren, it seems like. So it's a common mistake, but you know that costs you. That should cost you a couple of times, a couple of X penalties. This is Nikolai Mielder. Oh dear, that's into one. And if you know Watkins, Glen, 4 into 1 does not go, especially going into a very fast section of the S's. You know, there's cars absolutely everywhere. And I think the guy on the outside just had no idea.
So,
3 cars to his right. There was Roman Bokler getting caught up in that as well. Came across the circuit, trying to hold his brakes, but I don't think he could whatsoever. We're getting these really good shots here, and you can see one of the other cars just spinning out. Unfortunately, then Roman Bokler going back to the pits for him. I wonder if we're going to get another perspective of this. No, we're going back to the live action here. And it's going to be with Yannick Steinhoff, the German driver, with Roman, with Rufe Keeper, the Finnish driver who's pushing on here. But I think there's a little bit of team orders hit down here at WSR Esports, because these two BMW drivers at this moment just line astern. I think the strategy is where it's all going to play a part. Let's talk about strategy for the moment, because there's that option of trying to fuel save all the way through and then going for a one stop, or and then just burn all of your 50% capacity fuel and then go for that 2 stop. So there will be a very rough market. I think the first round of pit stops will be coming in just after the 15-minute mark. So probably, I'm going to say on this one, yeah, you're looking around about the 15 to 20 minute mark, because of course you know, you want to be, because of course if you pit twice, just around about, let's say, the 20-minute mark, next one is going to be on the 40 and then on the 60. So that might just be able to hit you through on that one, but we'll have to see what these drivers are up to on this one. They kind of calculated better than I have. We've got Sven Lotman here down here in his Ford Mustang. We've got a plentiful of Ford Mustangs on this grid as well. We head now on toward lap 4. This is looking like a tight grid. Under pressure here from Artem Udod. We now look back here with the main pack, and look how close that is. The fastest lap, in fact, going to Aiden Young here, 144.431. Is his best time. A lot of personal bests here, so they're looking very, very close here compared to the qualifying time. So they are evidently pushing. They know that they're going to be making a 2 stop. I'm looking to see if anyone's a little bit more off the pace, doing it maybe a 45. It looks like Tommy Vidal has just done one at 145.8. This is Malik Paluch, who has done who's had a really good race in Daytona, and all the rear's going there on the Ford Mustang. He's gone and put the rear, just leaning it up against the Armco, the tire barrier, very, very close to getting here. But Malik Paluch has dropped all kinds of places there for him, and that is going to be massively unfortunate there for him. Down 26 places in 39th overall here, and that's not going to do any good for our Pro-Am category car. Meanwhile, back at the top of the rankings here, Eric Rosette continuing to form a bit of a train here. He's of course got Aiden Young with him, but of course Yannick Steinhoff is looking to really try and gain here. About a second separates the Mercedes to the 2 BMW. I'm sure they're just having to keep each other in check here, because you know you really don't want to be battling, because how easily can that gap erode, especially if you start fighting away here. Then it would just be a big opportunity here, and this battle goes all the way down to the top 10 there with Igor Wazowski, the Polish driver. Of course, as I said in the qualifying session, he did not have the best of races, but he is still really trying to charge out here and see if we can potentially get a good result here. Looks like we've got Florian Nofl in P11. He's done a 144.6, so I think he's just not quite gelling with the car. We now get an eye view camera here, and looks like a face cam here of Rupe Keeper, the Finnish driver who's just in chase here of the German of Yannick Steinhoff. I think Steinhoff at this moment in time is just trying to go maybe as a pod here with Keeper. So those two BMW drivers start having a big old ding dong. Then the Mercedes and the Ford we brought along. It's kind of just trying to bring as many cars as he can along with him is Steinhoff, because then he'll be able to, really put the pain to the BMWs, but dropping a little bit per lap. It's not ideal so far. We'll have a look, see what the laps are going to be looking like. This time around. But we have a look here with this Spaniard of Danny Neo. He's in a bit of a McLaren sandwich here with Sergio Barjo and Igor Kos, who are just surrounding him as well. They cross over the timing beam, so we're going to be getting more laps here. Yannick Steinhoff, 144.2. So he is just, in fact, done the exact same lap time as Eric Rosef. So they are indeed, I was going to say he's the second fastest car on track, or the third fastest car compared in the top three. But we'll have to go back to that, because here comes Danny Neo, the Spanish driver. But now moves ahead of his fellow countryman. Sergio Barjo will have to give that one up in the red McLaren. It's a good move there from Danny Neo, but he's dropping off a little bit here from the top six, which is not ideal, but hopefully he will try and push them on and see if he can get his McLaren teammates to potentially work their way through. Yannick Steinhoff absolutely doing a great job, and as I say, I thought he was going to be the second fastest car or the third fastest car in that top three. No, he is right on. He's joint second to Eric Rose. Aiden Young did it at 44.1. The fastest lap has moved away from the top three. In fact, it's moved down to 10th place with Igor Wazowski at 144.156 there, I believe, on lap 3 of this race. So it's time to staying competitive for now. But there you can see Igor Wazowski and the Impulse Racing team, of course, teammates with Yannick Steinhoff. So very much they're going to keep each other in contention here. Sorry, I think that's also Norbert Liebner. Yes, Norbert Liebner and Igor Wazowski are teammates in this one. You see the grey and the black cars. So that's the Impulse Racing team, those guys. So the Pro Category class drivers very much leading very, very strongly in that top 10 in this race so far. We've only had 10 minutes so far this race, but it's been ultra competitive so far. We've had plenty of incidents. That's one thing I think a lot of our drivers wanted to try and avoid. We now get to see class leaders. We have in fact Florian Nofler leading the Pro-Am kart in P11 there. So not doing too bad, but he is being currently surrounded, I think, by an Acura there in behind one of our BMWs. So I believe that's going to be Marcelo Caserta in the Corvette. Of course, missed out in Daytona, but had to return for this one. Florian Nofler going very, very well in that Pro-Am category class. He's currently just falling a little bit back there from number 191 of Igor Wazowski there in P10. So the Mercedes is very much being towed here by that top pro class, and Nofler has no response there, 1.5 back. Of course, like I said, he's got Marcelo Caserta, and he's also got the leader in the AM category as well, being Alex Rogers in the BMW. Alex Rogers, in fact, is a privateer, so he has entered this championship with his own money compared to teams as well. Funded for these drivers. So Alex Rogers doing an absolutely fantastic job there, and with the pink gloves as well, just doing a little bit of wrist movement, because trust me, when you've done when you do a lot of driving especially in something like iRacing with a bit of force feedback, your wrists do need a bit of movement compared to just being straightened out and just in the real steering wheel. Of course, it seems like Jim actually is coming in with a bit of a funny statement.
So you see Alex Rogers here, and he's a privateer. He's probably running his only driver's page. That's why he has the pink gloves on. He's probably running his only driver's page for funding for his operation here.
Yes, go to see if we can peek at Alex Rogers' only drivers.
Yes.
So, of course, I'm sure that's what every iRacer needs. You know, it's starting to get a little bit expensive on this game, but you know, when it's all worth it in the end once the checks come through and. To fund all these racetracks, all these different cars, and it has been an absolutely fantastic race for him so far. I think he's just trying to hold position, but I'm not entirely sure if he's aware, but the relative is showing that both his BMW manufactured teammates will be in the pro class are running extremely well. Steinhoff still running very, very close to that to those times. Aiden Young takes back the fastest lap with a 144.137. So looking pretty strong for him so far. Into almost with an hour to go at this race. So it's a Roseth from Young, from Steinhoff, from Kokipa, and then Anders Meyer there in P5, followed by Liebner and Neo with Abajo, Oss, and then in P10 we find Igor Wazowski, Florian Nofla, and then Marcelo Caserta and Alex Rogers there, the top 13. Caleb Mayer, and then Pedro Bizu in the top 15. Jim, anything?
No, let's go back and take a look at Lenny Kiefler. He's up 21 spots still in the race right now. He's running in 25th place, but he's had quite a run up early in this, and looks like he's under some serious heat here from Udad.
He absolutely does seem like he's under a little bit of pressure there from Artem Udod. The pink and that grey car, it seemed like they're on Udod. A bit of a strange maybe color combination on that one for the Russian driver, but he's obviously gone with it, and he's starting to really run with it, and starting to rumble a little bit of feathers underneath the skin of Lenny Kiefer, and I think Kiefer's trying to push on here, trying to catch up to Thomas de Routier in his Porsche. So we'll have to see how that really turns out, especially with the differences between the mid-engine Porsche V6 and the booming, I think, the other V6 of Lenny Kiefer's BMW. This one's at the front, and we've got a car off, it seems like, and that is going to be Michael Eberstein in his BMW 222. So he's dropping down the order like a stone down a canyon. Fortunately for him, I think he's had a bit of an off. I'm not entirely sure if he's had a spin or if there's a crash here. We'll have a look at a replay. So thank you, Jim, for getting this.
Is a different. This is a different episode.
Team, Michael Eberstein, and that's not. Unfortunately for him, he just pulls off the road, and I wonder if that was.
It seems like almost like an equipment issue, maybe. Yeah,
you're right on that one. I was probably gonna present that. At another stage, but yeah, that does seem like potentially equipment failure. You know, it's very rare to have those equipment failures where maybe the wheel or the pedals just suddenly stop working. But yeah, it's really unfortunate there for Eberstein, and unfortunately for him, he's not going to go any further. It seems like unless he can somehow get that going, but the tracker is currently reading at him still sitting on the side of the road. Meanwhile, Igor Kos that's going to be Sergio Bajo. Sergio Bajo down there in P10, the Spaniard has dropped a couple of places. That's a big snap there from Igor Kos in the McLaren. He's having to give way there to Igor Wazowski, and unfortunately there for the German driver, it just seemed like he's lost the rear on that one. A lot of the drivers trying to use the off-track limits, because you can do that here in iRacing. You are allowed to use that little bit of off-track if it's approved. It does seem like, unfortunately, there just lost the rear, and he has gone for a big old tank that regain his confidence, regain his momentum, and see if he can potentially go through. But look there in the background, you can see there Florian Nofla, the German driver has very much been on the go, and now we get to see the track map, because this is going to prove to be a little bit quite important here, because you see the gaps here just after 18 minutes. Just wonder if how this will really pan out. You see there just down at these last couple of corners, the back markers in the Pro-Am, the amateur category, starting to get involved. I believe we've had a couple of pit stops as well. We've had Nikolai Mielda, we've had Nico Nurmi, Matt Loveridge, it seemed like as well. Tomato Baseggio has come in the pits as well. Looks like we've got a pit stop here from Pierre Bure.
That's because of an incident he had.
The Acura is going to be it's starting to get something in my ear. An incident here for
he had a little run in here.
The Acura and in towards Caney goes. And oh dear, oh no, oh, and having a bit of friendship touch in there, it seems like, for the Frenchman, but spun round the rear bumper coming off the car, and it looks like during that collision they just wanted to face each other at that point. One of the drivers was getting so frustrated seeing the bumper there, and
we got somebody backwards right there.
Other.
Oh, that was Tommaso again. That was Tommaso again. He had spun it around again. Yeah.
Tommaso Baseggio.
Yeah, he spun it. He looped it right there in front of
this one. And into more, Baseggio, he's hit the barrier as well.
Yep.
And front damage as well. He's not on the brakes either, because you want to be holding this one as well. He's just managed to get it off the road. So I think he's just wanting to get it off the road, but to stay predictable, you usually want to be holding your brakes on that one.
So the battle we were looking at prior to that was Utad and Lenny Kiefer, and right before that episode where Tommaso spun that second time, Utad got by Kiefer in the that pink and gray McLaren. He snuck through there and has gotten by Kiefer.
Yeah, for sure. These guys are very much starting to have into very alert mode, because there's so much that can happen, and that's also something. That potentially a back marker. I think I'm not entirely sure on that one. Was that no? It wouldn't have been Schutler, because he's 1.6 seconds back. But yeah, it looks like a BMW playing a little bit of a part there. I think that might be. I don't think that's going to be Michael Eberstein, but we'll have to have a look and see that was at some stage. But wow, that was getting very, very intense there at one stage. So with the track starting to get a little bit narrow through the chute there, it's a very, very difficult moment through there. And I think we've getting a little bit darker. I think the headlights have just come on for all our drivers. I don't know if that's because of clouds, or if that's potential rain, or if that's just the time of day is starting to go into a little bit more of the evening. We'll have a look here, and it does seem like the wind is at this moment in time staying quite low here. The temperatures are pretty high. It's still partly cloudy, but I wonder if that will go into complete cloud at one stage.
That track temperature's up there, huh? Holy cow!
It is very hot there, it seems like, over in Watkins Glen. We now watch Sergio Abarco in the McLaren. Jim, you were trying to say something?
Oh, I was going to say, I think you could cook an egg on that thing. It's so hot out there right now. Camp out and cook some breakfast.
I think that needs to be a thing. We just cook our breakfast on a racetrack. I think that would be something that would never be seen before. We'll have to that will go absolutely wild on the internet, I think. Back to the racing. Sergio Abarco in P10, the Spaniard, feeling the pressure here from Florian Nofla, the leader in the Pro-Am category. So it looks like Florian very much starting to feel the rhythm in the Ford Mustang, starting to get a sense of where he can improve, where he can use as much of the track as possible. German driver really starting to work his way up to the back here of the Ford Mustang, up to the
that Mustang. That Mustang looks really planted too. If you watch it, it's stable going through the turns. He's getting a good drive off the turn. The car's not twitching around on him too much. He looks really strong right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that car is very much staying within the track limits. Someone who wasn't staying in the track limits was Alex Rogers there, and the other in the BMW there in the background, completely going off in the penultimate corner, just shooting off there on the right, on the over to the viewer's left-hand side. You kind of think there's a car over there. That's a little bit off here. We'll have a look here at Alex Rogers and in towards the left-hander, and just touched the grass there, I think, and the rear decided to go away from me. Very lucky to catch it as well, and that is not a replay camera there of Alex Rogers. That was just him live, I believe.
No, I think that was. Well, I don't know. To be honest, I think that was during the replay. I think he was just that calm going off there. That's a good question. I don't know if that was actually during the replay or not, because he was turning the wheel pretty good. So.
Yeah, well, I think I wasn't quite able to get the full 60 frames per second to be able to get that here. Florian Nofla, we talking about how stable that car was. Well, he's right on the back here of Sergio Barja. Sergio Barja, I think, is also going to be wanting to just stay within the top 10, especially after a very difficult showing at Daytona. But he's got to be careful here, because we've got Marcel Casarta in his debut race this season. He is looking for a big opportunity to fly himself into the top 10. But if Nofla can find a way through early, the Ford Mustang is going to be in a very, very top place.
I will tell you, if Abajo doesn't move out of the way, I got a feeling he may get moved out of the way, because Knopfler's got to go. You know, he's got Caserta all over him, and Abajo's holding him up right now. It's obvious that he's being held up, you know, and he needs to, either, maybe get out of the way, or like I said, it's Knopfler's patience is going to run out, and or they're going to accidentally, purposely touch. That could happen too.
Yep, he did. He wanted to potentially go for a move, but he opted not to stay in the slipstream of Barco. And I wonder if Nofla is able to potentially go for a move. They head down towards the chute, and he's just thinking of a way to potentially go for this. Meanwhile, Casarta very much is really looking to see if it can potentially find an opening on that Ford Mustang. The Mustang is trying different lines here already on the rear of that McLaren, but all the rear's gone there on the Mustang, and through goes Casarta. You talked about Jim, he had to get the move done, but unfortunately the rear went over and did a swapper on him. Basically, he saved it, and it looks like Casarta will be the next to challenge Barco in this one. So the Italian up against the Frenchman this time around. It's McLaren up against the Corvette, and it looks like Casarta is going to be the sole Corvette in this race. It was of course, I believe it was Yotatis. It was Yotatis in Road America, but because of his early DNF, that now means that Casarta is going to try and go for it now up the inside, and that is a super move and nice. A well completed move. And I think that was exactly what Nofla was wanting to do, but Casarta is just taking it, and he's going to be running with it, but up the hill through the S of the slipstream, going to the McLaren, the Acura. I wonder if he'll be able to defend. You can already see Abajo where he's opting to place that bar, but down in towards chicane he goes, and it looks like he's not able to get away through here. Will Florian Nofla decide to potentially go for a move here potentially? The pace is staying strong for the majority of these guys, still staying in the low 44s. Jim, you have something?
Well, the way his rear end snapped around on him, he heated those tires up, especially under this new tire model that iRacing's running right now. It's going to take him a lap or so to cool those rear tires off Knopfler. And I tell you what, we've got the Pro-Am and the Am leaders running back to back right here. Alex Rogers is all over the back end of Knopfler there, and that's your leaders in both your Pro-Am and your Am categories right there together.
That's going to be absolutely superb for both these guys, and Nova has been so competitive, but Alex Rogers, I think, has run a very calm race. Big movement in the pit lane as well, because we've got our leaders in.
Yeah,
so this is going to be a big moment here for the race, and look at that, the BMW's there. Rodseth is in, Young is in, Steinhoff, Keeper, Wazowski, they're all in, and they're going to be serving their pit stops, and hopefully it will be a rush out of the stops to be able to we'll have to see how
the
it
Mercedes is
out,
not taking tires.
It's going to be a true race here.
Steinhoff is not taking
interesting
tires
there, because I don't know if that's gone out on stream there, but
yeah, it is.
Our production has been well done, thank you, Jim. Yeah, he's not taken tires, so Yannick Steinhoff is now going to move into the net lead of this race here at Watkins Glen because he hasn't taken tires. Now this is going to be massive, because you can see there in the background there is the two BMWs coming out onto the track there, and I think it seems like Yannick Steinhoff has also got a car in between him. Steinhoff has got a car in between himself and Eric Roseth. So that's going to be absolutely massive. That means both the BMWs are going to have to fight through a bit of lap traffic. But this gamble is going to be absolutely huge for Steinhoff, because if he can potentially put himself with a car in between him and the race leaders and nurse those tires till the next pit stop, well, this could be a massive opening for Yannick Steinhoff, who has had an absolutely superb run in the first round. Finished P3 on the road in his Mercedes behind Norbert Liebner, but obviously is now looking at facing a race lead here. It just depends on the conditions of the tires, kind of depends on the lap times, really. More pits in here, Anders Meyer, Norbert Liebner, Danny Neo in the pit lane as well, so we can go to them if you like. Also, look at that, Norbert Liebner deciding not to take tires as well.
Neo
so I
either.
believe Norbert Liebner and Yannick Steinhoff, both Mercedes manufactured teammates, also Danny Neo. So I didn't take this into consideration when we were joining the lobby, but there is an option to not take tires at one stage. You want to be doing it for the second sim. However, the first stint is going to be a very brave thing to do. And look at that car in between here, Aiden Young and Eric Roseth, and that's for position. Here comes the BMW. It is BMW versus BMW. The German manufacturer is going to be side by side. The M4 made for both real world and sim racing. Down towards the chicane we go. The American out on top in that one. Anders Meyer just had to try and get any form of momentum he could, and just wasn't able to do so. And that is some brilliant stuff here from both Young and Meyer. Some good racing, clean racing as well to mention. I think he is just going to be a little bit frustrated behind the wheel, because he has lost a good 0.8 of a second to his teammate of Eric Roseth. And look at that. Also, Danny Neo has found himself in second place for position as well. We now look at Anders Meyer. He's going to be under pressure here from Norbert Liebner in the Impulse Racing and Mercedes 199, just sitting behind that BMW of the Norwegian of Meyer. And you can see that both of them really squaring up to each other as our pro category class drivers are about to enter onto some on some lapped cars. It seemed like a couple of them in the pits as well. I can tell you who that is. That's going to be Roman Bokler. That's going to be Jan Volmers. It seemed like Tommaso Passeggio, I think, as well, Florian Nofler and Jan Nova as well. But going back to this live action down in towards the first corner here, a little look there from Norbert Liebner, but just wasn't able to do so. Going to use a little bit of the curbing there, and that's a lap car coming out the pits for your own information, making their way through the S. And I think there's a big opportunity here for the Mercedes of Norbert Liebner to be able to make a move. He's going to keep it in the middle lane here, I'd say, but now moving towards the middle. I thought
they got together.
Mayo was going to use it. There's contact between the two. It's going to be the BMW going a little bit off the track there, but it's going to be Mercedes in front. I wonder if anyone's been given a slowdown for that cut there. It doesn't seem like it, but look at that in the background. The McLaren here of Igor Kost, of course, his debut race here around Watkins Glen in the ARL GT3 trophy, and he's found himself in a big old tussle here for 4th, 5th, and for 5th, 6th, and 7th. We just saw there the driver eye camera of Anders Meyer for the Racing Lab esports team. Down in towards the foot they go. That was a monumental battle, but yeah, it just seemed like Norbert Lichtner was eager to get through. Our winner from Daytona in the pro category class, the Hungarian, is now in a very, very good position. But yeah, that's going to be really interesting to try and remember who is taken tires and who hasn't.
Well, Meyer took tires. Meyer took tires. Norbert Lichtner did not take tires, which and Aiden Young took tires. That's why Young was out a lap before Meyer. That's why Meyer couldn't keep up with him when he came out of the pits, because he had those cold tires. But this surprised me that Lichtner went this hard after Meyer like that, knowing, assuming that he knows he took tires, because as his tires come in, more than likely he's going to pass Lichtner back, since Leitner's on old tires.
Right on that one, and we can tell that Steinhoff has not taken tires. Neither is Neo, neither is of course Meyer. So this is the interesting thing, because they've thrown themselves up the field. It's just about maintaining this kind of momentum. Having a look at the lap times here, a couple of drivers here. In fact, Yannick Steinhoff and Danny Neo. Remember those two drivers? They're now in the mid 44s. So Neo 44.6, Steinhoff 44.7. They're running about 3 to 4 tenths slower, and the likes of Roseth and of course Aiden Young here. So that does say to me that the taking no tires is a good option. However, it's just about how far can you make them go, because I'm going to guess here by the end of the stint, they're going to be absolutely screaming for help with very, very little rubber on the tyres to go through. You're for sure going to be seeing that. So this is something that's going to be slowly progressing throughout the race. We head here onto lap 21 here, 35 minutes on the clock so far, and it's Yannick Steinhoff taking no tyre risk here. Try and go for a potential victory. Meanwhile, Anders Meyer is going to look to now try and go for the Mercedes of Norbert Lichtner. The tires versus no tires. This is Lichtner versus Meyer. I think that these drivers are going to go into battle once again. We saw it coming out of the pit lane for Meyer, but we're now going to see here Lichtner is going to be on the defensive. The BMW may give a little bit of hip and shoulder as a return in favour, but this time it looks like the Hungarian of Norbert Lichtner knew exactly what he was doing and decided to go for the fair racing option. Let's through the BMW. So very much so, very competitive so far. Just wanted to give a little bit of a report. Eric Roseth 144.156 last time around. That was 4 tenths of a second faster than the car ahead of him, Danny Neo. So he's now starting to very much close up here to within a tenth of a second to the McLaren. So I think that's now going to be a battle. And look at that on your timing screens. That position has now changed. Eric Roseth up to P2 on this part here, and Anders Meyer is able to fly down the road. But this is what I'm talking about here. I think Eric Roseth was just on the inside line there, down in towards the right hander of the boot here, and managed to find a way through. Now it's going to be down to Aiden Young. Aiden Young, of course, he must feel like he lost so much time throughout his pit stop and the traffic that he had to concur compared to his teammate Roseth. The two WSR drivers are very much having to try with each other. We'll have a look here with Eric Roseth. He got into the tow. The fresh tyres, of course, for the BMW really helped. The setup has been absolutely mega from the WSR team. keeps on the inside, doesn't push out the McLaren. Really nice, fair racing there from Eric Roseth, and the Norwegian is very much on the go. I really can see a big opportunity for Eric Roseth to be able to push on and see if he can maybe go for the lead here. Well, it does look like that time is dying down. And remember, if you want to know the times last time around, 44.4 for Eric Roseth, 44.6 for Yannick Steinhoff. So definitely a 2/10 difference in this one. So that's all that matters. And Steinhoff will very much just be trying to keep this going. The next pit stop, I think, that will get run here, 50-minute mark. So about an hour with about 50 minutes to an hour to go, we'll start to see drivers pitting. Meanwhile, with seeing Caleb May, the Frenchman, who is now running in 13th in the pro category, 14th overall. He is having a little bit of ding dong here with a fellow McLaren driver this time. In the pro-am category, it is Grossman, of course, Ronald Grossman there for the Core Sim Racing 3 team, gone up 15 places from his starting place here. So this is definitely a battle that can be taken on. Just having a look at the timing to see if there's any difference. They're both in the low 45s here, so still looking pretty competitive time. But it kind of makes me think, have they taken tires? Because Kayla May is a little bit slower compared to the leaders pro category, but Grossman must be looking very quick in his pro-am category. So he very much had that pace to go after Caleb May. We're having a look here, and we now see sectors into their individual classes. Our top three taken up by all of our pro category class cars. That was kind of the obvious statement. And Steinhoff down to Roseth is now closed down to 1.6 seconds. While the pro-am is Grossman followed by Carl Winkler. That's a 1.7 second advantage from Grossman. The two Germans very much in a world of their own at this moment in time. I think Artem Udod also looking at trying to potentially go through on Carl Winkler. I think they have a car in between them, and that I think is going to be. Let me have a look at this one. It's P17. I just lost my my timing screen for the moment. But looking back at my main screen, it seems like there's some real stuff there, and it's going to be good at Gardini, the Italian driver in the McLaren, who's in between those guys. So important for these drivers to really make sure that they are within, of course, touching range of each other, and have very much got to keep themselves in a really, really good place. They make their way through the next sequence of corners. Alex Rogers there, we're looking at the, of course, Puppeteer in the BMW, still running a really fine race in P11 overall. He's looking for an opportunity here, and I think got to keep himself running in a really good spot here. He doesn't have to drop too many places, doesn't have to drop too many seconds, but overall Alex Rogers has been an absolute star in this race. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. He's he is 4 spots ahead of the Pro-Am leader, and he is 6 spots ahead of second place in the AMs. He's doing fantastic. He is just wedged up in there amongst a bunch of pro drivers, and he's knocking on the door of the top 10. Although that was interesting, he had a very slow moment there. I don't know if he had a slowdown or what happened.
A very possible idea they could have had a slowdown there, but he's just not quite matching the pace there. Izu in Mercedes just gone past him as well, so he's now going to be staring down the barrel of Eros Giannani and Caleb May. So Team McLarens are really going to be looking at that BMW and seeing it as a big old possibility for more points as well in their race. Overall, I think Alex Rogers is definitely must be my driver of the evening.
Oh, absolutely.
He's run a really, really good race. It's been really firm. And now looking back toward the top here, Danny Nee feeling a bit of pressure here from Aiden Young. But look at the time here. We've got about 7 minutes before the next round of pit stops. There's somebody who has come in. I'm not entirely sure. I think is Florian Nofla. We now see that move being made there by Aiden Young. Just having a look there at Nofla's position, because we'll get back to that in a moment, but just kind of highlight that. Neo moves down to P4 here, and he will have to take a pit stop within the next couple of minutes because, of course, he's taken no tyres, and he's very much in a position where he's got to try and get a 50% capacity fuel load to the end of the race. So where do you make that pit stop? I definitely think they've run a lot of the numbers, but it's just kind of comparing to what you'll be able to see at this moment in time. And of course, Danny Neo will have to, the main thing for him, just try and get to the end. Again, just having a look at was our Ford Mustang of Florian Nofla. Yeah, he retired quite a while ago because yeah, it looks like he's barely moving whatsoever. So unfortunately for him, he is out. Meanwhile, looking down the field, we see Paluch against Dustin Riker. The two German drivers going right at it here, and it looks like that is a big old tussle for this one. And it looks like actually we got a Lamborghini Huracan for Dustin Riker. I didn't actually realise we had a Lamborghini Huracan. I think maybe, I wonder if that was a change.
We've got several of them in here. Well, two.
Do we?
Yeah, two.
I think we only had. I didn't think we had a Lamborghini last time out in. Lamborghini out last time in Daytona. I'll double check with my Excel spreadsheet that I created because yeah, I wasn't sure about our. Our Lamborghinis. Yeah, I don't have any color codes for the Lamborghini, but again, I'll have a look to see what how that went. But
you would be a huge fan. My wife would be a huge fan of yours. She would love you with your spreadsheets. She's a spreadsheet girl herself, so she would absolutely love that about you.
Oh. I have for another one I'm covering. I have a whole stats page alongside. So once this race is done, I'll have my little stats page as well with my color codes as well.
You just lost.
It's
I'm sorry.
To keep a track of all these drivers.
So look at this. We had a little incident here, real quick. Us is Guarini. I think this is all by himself too. This is probably not going to go well. Oh!
Launching failure.
Oh my goodness! Oh no, that's the pink and gray McLaren we were following earlier.
Udod.
Yes, Udod.
Udod, I think.
Yes. Oh my goodness!
Now in the timing screen, just going down the order, and Arturo Guarini is now, completely out of this race. Hugely unfortunate for him because it looks like he moved to the middle of the racetrack and then just absolutely careered into the barrier.
Well, it sure seemed like some kind of equipment issue, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's look at it one more time here.
It just completely veered to the left. Let's see what I can kind of get from this, because Guarini to that left-hand side. That's exactly where you want to be. Veers to the middle. And then something happens where he moves to the middle and then realizes something's happened and then just moves to the left.
Let's
I think
do
may
this
have a
real
bit
quick.
Of telemetry.
Let's see what this looks like. See what his steering wheel does.
Right, let's have a look at the. Let's see what the steering wheel does. Moves to the middle and then I think he might be testing something. Yeah, not entirely sure then.
That was strange.
By the time he realizes he's in the middle of the track, and Artem Udod is then just sitting in the middle. Artem Udod just comes across the McLaren, sitting in the middle of the road, and pile drives into the rear of it.
That's so unfortunate for Udod. He was having such a good race.
He was really up in the heights, the lofty heights of his class position. But this is a change. This is Eric Roseth up into the lead of the race, and not just Eric Roseth, but Aiden Young here, because Yannick Steinhoff's last time around 145.0. Now that is looks like 7/10 slower than Eric Roseth. So I think that was potentially an overtaking there, but that's the factor of new tires, and this is what I was talking about earlier with the rubber, just not going very, very thin, not allowing grip to the Mercedes, and Aiden Young is absolutely desperate to get past here on that Mercedes. Going to potentially try a different line in toward the chute. A very, very tricky section of circuit because you're using all of that curb there on the driver's left-hand side. Now we get an eye view here with the German of Steinhoff. We now ride our way through onto the left. Look at that. Look at that Young there on the outside line. I think he's just going to give way on this one and just say, I'm not going to fight that. I have bigger battles to try and fish out here. But this is going to be a great finish here for Yannick Steinhoff, knowing that Haraldus Jotatus is already out of this race within the first corner. He took a third place last time around. I think Yannick Steinhoff is going to have a big opportunity here to go into the lead of the championship, especially knowing that his manufacturer teammate Norbert Liebner is down there in P6, a long way off the nearest car. He's got 5 seconds to Anders Meyer in the BMW, 7 seconds to Igor Wazowski. Big old tussle there, and that's going to be Kayla May up the inside of his manufacturer teammate. This is Giannani. My apologies on this, and that's Grossman up against Kayla May. So it looks like the pro category car class up against the pro-am. And look in the background. Hello, it's Carl Winkler in the pro-am, because this would turn into the battle for the pro-am lead as well if May doesn't get out of the way. And remember, he doesn't have to. This is racing for position here, but this is just such a big eye-opener for Carl Winkler. He's seen this battle up ahead, knows that his pro-am category rival is right up ahead. But the momentum here for Grossman looks absolutely impeccable. He's now going to move there, and you can see there almost lazy defending there. Oh, that could have been close there for Kayla May. The Frenchman just holds position for now. And the red and black McLaren holds off the white and green McLaren of Grossman. Will ride on board with the German down in towards the chute. The fire spitting flames off the McLaren there as they turn their way through the corner, trying different lines. Here is actually Kayla May, so it looks like Giannani is impacting this one. So my apologies, I think I got the complete wrong battle in this one, so I can only just apologize. But yes, Kayla May much in this tussle with Giannani. So I thought that, oh, that's a big lunge, that's unexpected, that's a brilliant lunge there by Kayla May, and that was absolutely superb. He now needs to defend the middle of the road here from Giannani, but up into the top 8, and next on his hit list is going to be Alex Rogers in the BMW. A couple of pit stops have been made, in fact, as well, so they will be in play for a couple of moments. But you know, there's been some really good stuff. Yannick Steinhoff has been in, so has Danny Neo for fresh tires as well. Malik Paluch in the Ford Mustang has been in as well. Marcelo Casanta, Sergio Bajo, Manuel Pendai. It looks like Eros Giannani is also in as well for fresh tires. So it looks like Giannani is completely run out of gas and rubber on this one. He'll stop in the box. Fresh tires for the McLaren, the Delta V Racing McLaren, his way in the box. New tires, a fresh set of threaded boots, and we now look back here to Eric Roseth, and he will be absolutely chilling in the hot Watkins Glen sun. I'm sure he can also kick his feet up a little bit, because you can see the gap back to his teammate Aiden Young here. I think the only thing he's got to be worried about is that gap to Yannick Steinhoff. Steinhoff is currently in a little bit of a tussle with Thomas de Routier, 0.8 of a second to him. We now split off into our own category. So it's Roseth from Young from Mayer. The BMW's lead 1, 2, 3 in this one has really been an absolutely beautiful circuit for BMW. Especially in the pros and the AM category. The pro-ams, well, it's been more towards McLaren's, I'd say, especially with Grossman running so well in his white and red. In his white and red car. He's still chasing down P8 there, Keelan May, the Frenchman. So some really, really good stuff so far. We now start to enter the final 20 minutes remaining of this race. It's been some stunning action so far, and I think there's been a lot to give credit to a lot of drivers all the way down the field. And just as you say that, somebody who needs to be given the biggest credit so far, Alex Rogers, up 11 places, leading in his AM category car, and we know that he is an AM category, currently sitting at 3.9 K iRating, which is not too bad. I think actually, I think that might be the highest in the AM category. That doesn't take back the fact that, you know, he's still able to run so highly. He's very much going to be potentially going into season 11 if he wants to continue in the ARL GT3 trophy. If he wants to take it into season 11, he should be going up to the Pro-Am. And if this is the type of performances that he's going to be showing, well, I'm going to be so pumped for Alex Rogers. That BMW has been on absolute fire this one, and I'm sure he'll be cracking open his own bottle of champagne in his house. What time is it over there in the UK? Well, it is currently, I can tell you, in fact, it has just gone 9:15 here over in the UK. So this race will probably end around about 9:30. So yeah, not too late for a bottle of champagne to celebrate a potential victory. But he's still got 20 minutes to keep it on the road. So hopefully, touch glass, touch like water glass here. That I do not give out the commentator's curse, because I will probably have to go and hide somewhere in the world, in an undisclosed place if he does accidentally crash out. Ronald Grossman here in the McLaren is coming on strong, and he is heading into the pit to make a pit stop here. Kayla May is also staying out on this one. As you see there, that was Rogers just climbing up the hill here, and Kayla May has been involved in a couple of tussles here, and I wonder where these guys are. Roseth and Young will pit here, because the gap between Roseth and Young has closed just that little bit. 44.351 for Roseth, 44.312. So that means that the gap has closed by about 0.04 of a second from the American driver to the Norwegian. He's got to keep the consistency up here. The traffic really becomes apparent. You can see there on the track map, on the live pictures, it has very much become a factor in this race. And Young is just going to try and see if he can get past the Lamborghini and the Acura as quickly as he possibly can.
Here we go.
But now sees Eric Roseth coming to the pits, and the WSRs are coming in at the exact same time, exactly as they did in the first round of pit stops. They've both come in as well. I wonder if anyone's going to try and take maybe a little bit less fuel to just try and make their car a little bit lighter in weight, and then that will be able to let them charge through and on towards a position where maybe someone like Young could.
They're not taking
little
tires.
bit less fuel on board. And again, well done. They're not taking tires. Brilliant call out there from Jim, because that's going to now see a big advantage here to Yannick Steinhoff, because remember, he is taking tires. Roseth is out there, and he's going to be, of course, at the mercy of these 2 to 3 tenths here. I wonder if Aiden Young has taken tires. Because look at that drop back there, 0.3 of a second. I'm hearing in my ear he's not taking tyres either. So that is hugely interesting if they've not taken tyres. So that's now going to give a big old advantage here to Yannick Steinhoff. If he can potentially close in on this one. Just having a look at the times here, Anders Meyer 144.196. He's only made one stop here, but it's going to be down here to the likes of Roseth Young and Steinhoff. But he does not have a lot of time here, does Steinhoff. May be able to get a second and steal that away from Young, but so he'll have to really push hard in that Mercedes and latch on to 3 seconds. So
Adam,
overall, we're seeing a big old battle in this one.
I tell you what, I like this strategy that that Roseth and Young have done here. They did the opposite of Yannick. They took tires on the first stop and short stopped the second one to stay out in the lead, whereas Steinhoff did exactly the opposite. And, you know, the end result here is a 6.5. Well, it's a 9-second gap to the leader, and a 6.5 second up to Aiden Young. I think that is. I think that's a great strategy they pulled off there. That may be I think that might be the race winning strategy right there. We've got 15 minutes left, and barring some kind of incident, Steinhoff's got a lot of time to make up.
Also, look at Anders Meyer, because he hasn't taken tyres either, and he's managed to find himself in front of Aiden Young.
Oh,
so
sure has.
It looks like young Aiden here has actually managed has found himself in a bit of spot of bother here. That is a brilliant strategy here from Anders Meyer. Now, I want to remind you to take back to Daytona Road Course, because Anders Meyer took a second place away here from took a second place here, very close to Norbert Liechner's win. It looks like we're now going to be getting a new championship leader in the pro category class, with Meyer potentially taking a top spot here in this class. You're looking at going a very good pace here, so I wonder how this will all pan out. We'll just have to see once the clock really ticks down to the last couple of moments what the pacing does look like. We're currently seeing Roseth up in the 2 minutes, which is not very representative. Remember, he was sitting in the pits for quite the while after he crossed that timing beam, and also as the pit lane speed. So that's what I'm thinking about Anders Meyer's stop for the moment. So we need to kind of take that into consideration when he passes over the timing line now. So this will probably be his kind of first representative lap time. Car in the way, it seems like, and I wonder that's going to be one of our AM categories. I'm not entirely sure who that could possibly be. I just see the if you have a look on the track map there, just above the one, you can see kind of a white little circle. That is for our amateur class. Not entirely sure who that could be. My guessing is going to be Jason Hodgson down in 36th overall. Very easy gets out of the way. So we're either looking at two very big scenarios here. We could be in for a Norway 1-2, as the Scandinavian fans will be absolutely delighted about that one. The one that's more likely on the table is a BMW 1-2-3, and let's not forget Alex Rogers down there. He's in 13th, but of course a couple of drivers still haven't made stops. I will double check this as I can, but it does seem like everyone has in fact made their final pit stop. So it does seem like Alex Rogers is currently fighting for P13 at this moment in time. Overall, he is in a superb position. I'm sure we'll get onto him at a later date.
Or now.
Later on in the time here. Or now. We move on there to the BMW. Yeah, you've just seen there the green. Car. Just ahead in P12. That is Kaylan May for the Della Trans Automotive by PC Designs team. We'll see who's running in a pretty good position here, 11th in the pro category. So he's very much in a really good spot here. Meanwhile, this is Norbert Lietner up against Danny Neo, and Igor Wazowski also lurking in the background. Actually, mind you, that is not Igor Wazowski, because that's a BMW, not a Mercedes. I'll try and see if I can potentially spot who that is. It looks like one of our pro-ams, so I suspect that's going to be Michael Eberstein. It looks like it's going to be so. So for the Cold Ice Esports Green team, he's currently running all the way down in 38 overall standings, but Danny Neo has a big opportunity here to go and take back 5th place here from Norbert Lietner. The Hungarian has been looking super quick here for the Mercedes in his Mercedes. Of course, this is a very tough battle.
Yes. Well, these two are on the opposite pit strategy of our leader right now. They did not take tire. I'm sorry. Yeah, they did not take tires on the first stop, and they took tires on the second stop. So they've got fresh. Both of them have fresh rubber, as does, of course, Steinhoff, who is right ahead of them. I'll say right ahead of him. He's a couple seconds ahead, but he's the next car on track.
It's going to be very much a big fight here to the end, and more points for either Lietner or Neo. Same classes, and Neo very much going for a potential move here. Just trying to get in the mirrors there of the Mercedes, but you can see that going off the road was Norbert Lietner, and that's exactly what Danny Neo wants to see here, using every inch of the road you can see, and having to park that car in the middle, but Danny Neo wants to have a look at that inside. The next overtaking opportunity is going to be into that very tricky chicane, but we've seen plenty of incidents all the way through this race and in sim racing, so you know it's not the easy place to go for a move here. And we ride on board with that McLaren 720S GT3 as it runs up the hill in the slipstream, in the toe. We will move to the right hand side, but the Mercedes will defend this one. How are they going to cope down in towards the chicane? Backs off does Danny Neo, putting that Mercedes under so much pressure, and was just able to turn it through. Oh, that's a car off on the left hand side there. That looks like I'm going to have a look on this one. Is that Igor Koss? Potentially no. That Kiefler. I think is going to be Matt Loveridge in the other McLaren. I'm being told on this one it's Lenny Kiefer in the pro-ams. No, this is a completely separate incident.
Yeah, separate.
Down towards the right-hander. Oh, just gets tapped round there. But the Luxembourg driver, I think, has just managed to continue at a solid pace. Oh, I thought this is lucky for him. This is Matt Loveridge down in towards chicane, takes a bit of curb, unsettles the car, and it goes round. Oh, that's a big old whack to the front. And then, okay, good idea. Matt Loveridge then just pulling off the road, trying not to give anyone any form of scare. I'm sure the suspension would have been absolutely, how I say is balked, is the word I'd like to use for that one, which basically means it's absolutely ruined. Meanwhile, Danny Neo is in a very good place here to try and go past the Mercedes. Lietner just keeping himself firmly in the middle of the racetrack, but that's just opened up the opportunity here for Danny Neo. Just need to open up these S sections and keep a really good rhythm. Keep that foot flat to the floor. In the slipstream he goes, really keeping on the rear here of Norbert Lietner. Lietner will be looking at this thinking, I don't really want to give this up, and you can see how aggressive he is going there. Completely to the right hand side to defend that place, but the Mercedes will just put himself a little bit off rhythm on this one, but carries the momentum, carries the speed, and very strong defense here from the Mercedes driver. This is turning out to be an absolutely stonking battle.
This battle back here is starting to heat up as well for 9th and 10th overall.
Is indeed, and for sure it's going to be an absolutely brilliant race ending to this one. Again, the lights are coming on, so I wonder if it's got to get a little bit cloudy and cast here. Marcelo Casterta as well, also gaining up to this one, and Alex Rogers starting to find his way up to the rear of the 12th place car, Kayla May. They've been absolutely around for the majority of this one. It's just about trying to find that gap. Oh, it's going to be 3 wide here for the moment, at this moment in time. But around the outside will go the BMW. It's been so strong around this layout, but what about our AM driver gone completely off the road? And I think that's not ideal, and having to go behind the Ford. I wonder if that was for race position. It was indeed. That is for overall position. Rufi Kokipa in the Ford Mustang for the Valkyrie competition esports team has slid on through on that one, and that's just a little bit of a mistake there from Alex Rogers, but that's not going to discount his credit here. He's still getting involved with the battles. He's just got to keep it careful and keep it on the road. Meanwhile, Jan Schukla is over 6.5 seconds here to the rear of Rogers, so that's going to be about 3 or 4 cars back here, and I can sense a very hotly contested battle in this one. The Ford Mustang trying a different line here. Rogers has just got to keep himself clean in this one. I thought that was going to be a big old squeeze, but the V8 Mustang is very much going to be trying to find a move here. Alex Rogers on the outside, being boxed in at the Ford Mustang, down into the water chicane, and Rogers says, I'm not having any of that. I want this amateur class win. And really clean racing there. You can see the smile on the face of Alex Rogers, knowing that he's involved in a absolutely titanic battle there over P12. But points are plenty in the overall class. Of course, the points are not counted in simple pro, so you get maybe like in maybe other championships you may find that each winner of each class gets, I don't know, 60 points, and then it goes down from there. It is all individual overall points that really give the maximum. And if Alex Rogers can go and take P12 on the road, my goodness me, I think I'd have to stand up and give a round of applause. I might even have to have a glass of champagne myself if he's going to have one. I might have to ask, in fact, what he's having for a celebration glass, and just have the exact same here. Alex Rogers now again on the attack, but how is he thinking about this one? The emotions must be going through him like absolute wildfire through his body. You can just see there, Kodakipa's Ford Mustang is very much staying right on the road here. We're going to be going in towards turn number 1 and following through the S's for this titanic battle there side by side. The Ford Mustang trying an audacious overtake here, and Rogers is hopefully going to just keep his nose clean in toward the S. He's being boxed in as well. He can't do anything about the throttle input. He can't just plow through that McLaren, otherwise a big penalty would be coming his way. He's in a big opportunity here to just draft with that McLaren, and they're going to be really tangling with the chicane here in toward the right-hander, and I think Alex Rogers might just have it. It looks like he's Kokipa's backed out off onto the grass. I think he's just going to back out of this one, maybe let Kokipa go through. It was good batting, but it's always at Watkins Glen through that chicane where things get so tight, and my goodness, Jim, that was absolutely stupendous.
This is great, man. This is some fantastic action here. We're down to 4 minutes to go in this race. Time's flying by now. And
if sure it's
so I've been sticking with this battle here. Let's well, my screen is froze here.
We'll see if we can potentially get you in just a moment, but I can keep an eye here on the timing screens and just let you know if we can get anything going at this moment in time. I don't know if there's been a crash with iRacing or anything, but I don't know if we can potentially go back to the overall standing.
Yeah, I can probably do that.
Just to let me know on that one.
Yep.
Just so I can get an idea.
I'm going to try to
to
refresh iRacing here and shut it down. Bear with me, guys. We're still going to have the timing and scoring up. I'll be right back here.
So yeah, whilst that's all going on, I think I can try and get a little bit of an idea. So it's still Eric Broseth there on top, ahead of Aiden Young. That time's around there. It's like about a tenth and a half separating them in the way of Roseth. So 4 seconds separating Roseth and Young, as those two continue out in a really, really good zone there. Anders Meyer is also in P3, so we're heading for a BMW 1, 2, 3 in this one. Yannick Steinhoff trying to give it his all, but for now just running in 4th place and trying to give a big effort to try and romp himself up to P3. Because remember, he didn't take tires for the first one, but he did for the second, and Meyer was doing the alternative strategy on this one. For the first stint, no tires for the second. Danny Neo just behind Norbert Liebner in there. They were tussling there about 7/10 between the two drivers. Mercedes just in front of the McLaren. Igor Wasowski there in P7 with Pierre Bizu. Of course, I don't know if these are going to be the final standings, but if they are, then this has been an absolutely immense race. Jim, have you potentially found anything?
Well, we're back up and running now. It should pop back up any second here. There we go. All right, so we got 2 minutes to go roughly. Let's see where our leader's at. See if we're going to get 1 or 2 more laps. Paints are refreshing, unfortunately, guys. I apologize for that. So Roseth is... Where is he at? About to go into the just coming out of the heel of the boot, I guess.
So you're right on that one, and this is the penultimate lap.
Yeah,
well.
I think so. This is going to be, we're coming to the white flag here. All right, let me see. We
are indeed at Watkins Glen.
Find our battles now that we got going on. Back to that battle we had running back there. That's still the best battle on track right now.
So we now move into the white flag lap very, very soon. Eric Roseth has had an absolute run here. We move on towards our final lap. He has had an absolute run here around Watkins Glen. The BMWs itself, I think they just need their own complimentary congratulations, because they have been an absolute brilliance here. It's been an immense battle for these guys as well. Jim, you have noticed something, it's like?
Well, Rogers has dropped all the way down to 17th. He's still leading the AMs, but he must have had a little bit of trouble somewhere along the way there. Oh, he had an off track, it looks like. See if I can pull it up.
A very late replay on this part here. Oh, it doesn't look like we've got...
No, that's not good.
Here. Oh, no. Oh, it's not ideal here.
All right,
let's see if we can go back to the gameplay here. We do have gameplay. We will just stick with this moment in time, and of course Rogers. We'll talk about him at a later point here. But Eric Roseth has been on absolute domination form here. A brilliant strategy here for WSR Esports. He's been very much leading his teammate Aiden Young. He's tried to go for it, but it's just been the power of Eric Roseth and the Norwegian 2 corners from home. Round 2 here of the ARL GT3 trophy. It is 2 winners from 2 races. Round the final corner, Eric Roseth wins at the Glen here in America, and Young will take home a WSR 1-2. It is Anders Meyer who takes home a BMW 1-2-3, and that's going to be followed by Yannick Steinhoff, of course, Norbert Liebner. What about this battle? Marcelo Caserta, the Italian driver. Contact right at the end, and Marcelo Caserta gets turned by Sergio Nabajo, and unfortunately for him, he'll come into the pit, and that was an absolutely devastating end to this race, and the tears must be absolutely rolling. It looks like Rupe Kurkipa will just finish behind May, the Frenchman in the McLaren, and then we'll come to our, of course, it looks like Grossman has already come over the line for the Pro-Ams. We've got Carl Winkler finished second ahead on Lotman, and then we'll have Alex Rogers, who will finish 5.3 seconds ahead of Edwards. He crosses the line. He is our winner of the category. And I think we had a bigger incident yet. I noticed that because it looked like Schutler has not quite finished, and Edwards has now finished there. Oh, there's Daniele Chialfi in the Lamborghini Huracan. He looks like he's a bit of a moment as well. Massive, unfortunate. Artem Udon, not the first time he's been involved in the wars, and his it looks like Alexi Bari has gone on through. They're up 10 places from his starting position. What a dramatic end to the race here after 44 laps at Watkins, Glen. It has been an absolutely fantastic race. It's had everything you ever wanted. The PC just about managed to hold up as well. Thank you, Jim, for everything you do in the broadcast. So, of course, I don't think our broadcast team gets enough credit either, for especially during scenarios like this. But there are your final results, and we'll go over the class results as well.
So
in just a moment's time.
I'm gonna see. I think I can go back and see those two little incidents right there at the end. I think we should be okay on these two. So this is coming around to the final turn here, and he just absolutely got right into the back of him. Oh my goodness! What a horrible way to lose a couple of spots there at the end of the race. Does he even make the line? Yeah, I guess he probably crossed it in the pit road. And then this incident that happened that we just jumped in on at the very end. I think we can see a little of this maybe. Oh no, this is not it. This is another one. Apparently everybody decided to have an incident all at the same time. Oh no, we jumped kind of so that the green and yellow car was around already. Wow. Okay. Well, nothing like an exciting finish, huh? All right, so let's. We should have our.
You're right on that one.
We should have our results.
Should be having our results very soon.
Yes, indeed.
And there they are. Broseth is your winner for the WSR esports team, ahead of Aiden Young. Those two finishing 1-2 ahead of Anders Meyer, with Yannick Steinhoff and Norbert Lichtner, the MP5, the Hungarian, for the Impulse Racing team. And we find the Spaniard of Danny Neo, P6, the pro category, followed by Ugo Wazowski and Sergio Abajo. Then we find the winner of the pro category, Ronald Grossman, the German, wins there for the core sim racing 3 team, ahead of Caitlin May, rounding out the top 10 with Rufi Karkipa, the Finnish driver, with Carl Winkler. He's going to be second in our pro-am category, ahead of three more Germans of Sven Lotman and Malik Paluch. Pierre Ubizu in 15th, the Frenchman, putting in a decent result there, ahead of Alex Rogers and Jamie Edwards, who just about, of course, managed to keep it on the road for him. And then, of course,
sorry about that. I jumped you.
Dondolaris, no worries, Jim. Pavlo Denisenko, the Ukrainian, ahead of Mikko Nurmi and Dustin Riker. Of course, he got involved in a couple of incidents as well. Nikolai Mielda, Alexi Bari, Thomas de Brutia, Daniele Chiaffi, Giannani, Artem Udod, of course, getting involved in a lot of collisions, unfortunately for him. Lenny Kiefer, Stefan David, down there 32nd, Dominic Engel, Jason Hodgson, Matt Loveridge, Roman Bogler, Jan Bolmers, and Michael Eberstein there in 38th, 2 laps down. I think this is where we start to see our retirements there. Tommaso Paseggio in 39th, then comes Jan Nova, or Kos, followed by Tommy Beadle, Arturo Guerini, who unfortunately retired due to a couple of technical issues. And then we can't find our kind of almost first lap casualties, but first we've got Florian Nofla and Pierre Reg, and then we find our actual first lap casualties: Christoph Herbino, Harold Yotatis, and Sami Heiskanen. Did not get any further than the second corner of this race. And have to find a little bit of form going into Sonoma, but they will, unfortunately for them, have their work cut out on that one.
So,
Of course, plenty more to hear on Apex Racing TV.
so we had Unitas joined the chat room on the broadcast since he got it caught up in that first lap mess, and so he was giving us some insight in there, and he was right that the no tires would play out in the end, but in the end it seemed like it was tires and then no tires was the strategy that won the race, which but that was interesting, the two different strategies there. And then we had Alex Rogers jump into the chat right after the race, and he said he had a drive-through penalty is why he lost those spots. But that just goes to show you how dominating he was in class today, that he was able to survive a drive-through penalty and still win his category, so his class. All right, so let's see. We got some people here in the waiting room. Who would you like to bring in first?
I'll bring in. Can I do it myself? I can bring them in actually. I'm going to go with Eric Roseth. Eric, you are live on Apex Racing TV. A huge congratulations on your win. How is that feel?
Thank you
How
so
does that
much.
feel?
It feels good, especially after a disaster of a Daytona last week.
Absolutely. Of course, that BMW just seemed on absolute rails.
Yeah,
what
we had
like, of course, driving that car.
car
What's it
felt
like driving
great. We
that
had a
car?
really good dock. We had a really good setup for the high temps, and with a little bit of testing beforehand, we knew that tires were not gonna be able to keep on pace with going over the hour. So we chose to swap tires in the first pit stop, and then the car was just on rails the entire race.
Really, what was the plan with Aiden? Was he able to battle you, or was he just kind of getting caught in trap? Was he allowed to battle with you, but just caught traffic? What was the plan with Aiden?
We agreed before the start of the race that we were gonna try to stay P1 and P2 and try to gap the field a little bit. And then if we were close enough on the final stint, we were gonna go all out for the win. But then Aiden got a bit unfortunate with the traffic, and I think he got sideswiped a little bit in one of the overtakes he did. So he had a little bit of damage. We dropped behind a little bit, and then it was just my race until the end, basically.
Going into the third round of the championship, Sonoma, it's going to be a very, very, very different experience compared to Watkins Glen. Have you already signed pre-plan at WS Summer Esports?
I haven't even bought the track yet, never driven it, so it's gonna be a monumental challenge, that's for sure. So there's gonna be a lot of testing the coming week before the next race, that's for sure.
Congratulations! It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Go and celebrate your victory, and I'll see you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
So we're gonna do. Who are you gonna do next? Aiden Young.
I think it feels right to bring in second place in the pro category.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Young, you are live on Apex Racing TV. A solid second place for yourself. We just spoke to us. How are you feeling after that one? Are you feeling positive, or was there a little bit more in the tank?
Sorry, I didn't catch you there. Your mic cut out a couple times in your sentence. Not sure whether it's on my end or yours, but I didn't quite fully catch what you said.
Yeah, no worries, Aiden. Just kind of asking, how are you feeling after that result? Do you satisfied with it, or do you think there was a bit more?
I mean, it's always good to finish on the podium. I felt like I had the pace to win. Just got a little unfortunate with traffic, but you know, Eric's a good mate, and he's my teammate too. So you can't feel too bad when you lose to a teammate. It's always the better thing. At least you can feel less bad about it. But I mean, he deserved the win. He's been trying for a long time. From from what I've heard. So yeah, hats off to him. We both had good laps in quali. Then from there, in the race we just tried to make the most of the car and set we had, and it ended up going pretty good.
Of course, the game plan was pretty much there, but it seemed like you got stuck in a lot of traffic throughout the race. How did you manage to go about that?
Yeah, the traffic was tricky. I won't lie, I did get a little bit frustrated. I was thinking I was just holding down my flashing lights button, and some people are nicer than others. They got out of the way, and then some of the others, they just not so much. They just kind of held me up a bit more, and that was the more frustrating thing for me, is the traffic where I caught it was not ideal. And once that happened, I got out of draft. It was just kind of from there. It's just like, oh, can I salvage the P2, or is Anders gonna get me and he's gonna jump me? Sure enough, Anders jumped me, and I was like, well, I'll just settle in for P3 now. And then didn't quite catch what happened to Anders. I just went through the bus stop and then saw I was P2 again.
Yeah, to be honest, we
Absolutely.
actually
And
lost
then
we lost iRacing for a second, and we didn't get to catch what happened to Meyer either. When we popped back on, you were in second place.
Yeah, the server was doing some weird things this race. Like, so normally FPS wise, I run about 150.
Right.
There was times where during the race, every car would disappear, and my FPS would drop to like 15, and I thought I was gonna crash. It was that bad.
Wow. Well, that's good to know it wasn't on our end then.
I think my teammate was getting a few stutters as well, because I saw him like go in and out, blinking a couple times. So I wasn't the only one. You guys weren't the only one either.
All right. Well, we appreciate you. Congratulations. By the way, I want to thank you and all the other drivers that shared your webcams tonight. That was fun. So we had you pop up during when your driver details were up for you. So y'all will be able to enjoy that, and we'll encourage more of the other drivers to do the same. You got anybody you want to shout out to while we got you in here real quick?
Yeah. I'd like to thank Eric, obviously my teammate. Big help with this race. For the practice we did, it gave us a good idea for what we should do in the race. And then obviously the whole team at WSR Esports and our sponsors, Abruzzi UK, racegear.eu, Adidas Racing, and the whole rest of the crew that was just sitting there watching. Oh yeah, and Next Level Racing as well for what they help us with as well.
All right. Well, congratulations again. We'll see you next week in Sonoma, in the wine country of California.
Steve, what's next week? Peace.
All right. So who you want to bring in next? You want to bring in?
It's here from Aiden
Alex?
Young. We'll bring in. I think we'll bring in Ronald. Of course, I went in the pro category.
Okay. Yeah.
Ronald, you are live on Apex Racing TV, a winner in the pro category class. A great result.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, it was quite a exciting race, I think, for all the others. But after I've survived the initial chaos, I had quite a relaxing race, to be honest. Just was going my pace, tried to improve my pace since haven't done my a lot of practice this time. That was still like I improved during the race, got better and better, and then yeah, with a little bit of luck in the end, even gained a top 10 with 2 gained positions right towards the end.
Of course, you said it was quite a lonely race for you, but kind of talking through those last couple of laps, because of course, as you said, you managed to gain through those. That carnage. Kind of tell us from what you saw about it, because we didn't get to see much.
For me, I was like kind of in a bubble, but I always have like if I'm not like racing someone, I'm usually like scrolling up and down the relative a little bit to see where something's going on, and I had a fight right behind me, where I was like, yeah, guys are only a couple of tenths away apart. And I think they crashed as well. So a teammate of mine also profited of that. And then in front, I saw 2 guys. I can't remember the names yet. They were like really close and into the last lap, like only a couple tenths apart. And I hope maybe they come together. And it actually happened like between the second to last and last turn. One of them spun into the wall. The other one, I think, went over the incident limit for the contact and finished the race and get the automatic like time penalty applied by iRacing. And that's how I get the second position.
Interesting stuff there. Before you go, Ronald, is there anyone you want to shout out?
Well, maybe my old way back teammate Paschalis Gerkes, who made the VRS setup for this track, I think, that I usually use, and usually also my teammates. They have been a little bit unlucky today, but hey, next time is another chance.
Ronald, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on your pro-am win. Go and celebrate.
Thank you.
That was Ronald Grossman there, and a brilliant result from him. Finally,
Mr. Only Drivers himself,
Alex Rogers. If I can drag him in. Alex Rogers, you are live on Apex Racing TV. A huge congratulations on that win in the amateur category. That must have been an absolutely mega race for you.
Yeah, it was actually pretty crazy because I had at the end I had a tyre advantage over a couple of people that I was racing with. Who there's just no way I should have been racing them at all. And I also ended up with a drive-through. Managed to keep the first in AM, which was wild to me. But I think I just got into such a rhythm because I'd out-qualified myself, really. I qualified way out of position and just focused on the car in front all race and trying to stick with them. So, just ended up building a gap over the guy behind me and could afford to take the drive-through, which was really, really lucky.
Of course, that strong race really puts you in a great position. Kind of compare that over to Daytona.
Yeah, Daytona was a bit of a disaster for me because it was kind of over at turn one, which is never what you want. And I know that happened here for a few people, so that's never good to see because there was a bit of a pile up at the start. Again, I was super fortunate to get through all of it. And I think from that point, once I sort of got through that carnage, I kind of knew this might be an okay race because we'd already done better than last time after the first few turns. So, it was good to just survive, to be honest.
And of course, because I said in the commentary, if Alex wins, I might have to go and have if he's having a drink of any celebrations, I might have to copy whatever he's having. So, are there going to be any celebratory drinks that I might have to go out and buy at the moment?
I might do. I might have a Corona. Other beers are available, obviously, but I might do. It was a really look. I do this because it's great fun, and I just had great fun. So
I'm gonna jump in here real quick. There was a part where there was three of you racing really hard towards the end of the race there, and y'all sent it into the bus stop, all three of you. And you came out, you backed off a little bit, and you came out and you were laughing because we had you on. Yeah. Your webcam was up, and you could tell you were having a great time because you were literally laughing as you came out of that because you could just tell you were, having so much fun. And I thought that was a really cool moment, and that's a really cool part about people sharing their webcams like you did. That's big fun. So that was great.
Yeah, I mean, it was that genuinely, that was my reaction whenever there was cars around me. It's always fun to race people, especially, like I said, credit to those guys that I was battling with at the time. I think it was Kalen and Roop. They're both far faster than me. I just think I had a tyre advantage, so I thought, this is mega. I'm going to get the chance to race them. So, yeah, it was great fun.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it was this track or the tires or what, but you said you out-qualified yourself. You were running right around the top 10 until you got that drive-through. I mean, you were, I don't know if it was the track or what it was, but this track car combination suited you really well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, Jim. It's the BMW at this track. It's really, really drivable. So I think most people, if they put 10, 15 laps in and really try and get to grips with it, you can run a really good pace in this car. So we'll see what happens next round. So if you catch me in 35th, 40th, don't be surprised.
Hey, as long as you got the webcam going and you're still smiling. And by the way, we really liked the pink gloves. The first time we cut to you in the pink gloves, I said that Adam had said you were a privateer, which meant you were funding this yourself. And I said,
Yes.
well, he's got pink gloves on, so he may have started an only drivers page, and he's trying to get some donations with his pink gloves. I don't know, but yeah. So
I mean, most people would probably tell you that this hobby is probably that could be one of the good routes to fund it. To be honest, but
it's not cheap, that's for sure. But look, congratulations again. I'm looking forward to see how you get on at some of these other tracks because, like I said, you had some mega pace for the amateur class, and I'll be curious to see how you do it next week at Sonoma. That's going to be a bit of a different animal for sure. But congratulations. You got anybody you want to shout out to?
Yeah, the team that kind of back me. I know I've listed as a privateer, but it's because there's one of me. They've been good enough to kind of take me on as Hyperion Racing. So shout out to them because they were, they've put some faith in me as a lowly 3K driver to start doing this type of stuff, and this genuinely is my first league. So yeah.
Well, I'm not sure 38.98 makes you a lowly 3K driver. That sounds to me like you're a little closer to a 4K driver to me. But yeah. But again, congratulations, man! Great showing tonight, and I can't wait to see what you do next week at Sonoma.
Sure. Cheers, gents.
Yep. All right, we got anybody else? Nope, nobody else waiting.
That is it. I'll run this out and say that we've had an absolutely awesome race here at Watkins Glen. It's been an absolute night of fantastic racing action. And I'm sure a lot of our drivers will be walking away from this with a very, very big smile on their face. I think I would say the majority strongly, because of course we did have those unfortunate casualties. But that is Watkins Glen ticked off for our GT3 trophy calendar. We're going to be moving on to the next one, staying in the US, going to Sonoma. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this all comes out. Unfortunately, we're still missing last year's champion, Leon Mishka. So I wonder if we'll be able to see him come Sonoma. But if you want to keep an eye out for us, we're everywhere at Apex Racing. We're on League, we're on TV, and we are very much on multiple accounts as well. So keep an eye out for us on everywhere. I'm sure on the socials and on all streaming platforms. For myself and Jim, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in Sonoma next week at 8 p.m. Goodbye.